are there really processes that a man or a young person out there can follow to discover purpose?
Okay, talking about that particular process, there are no static process because individuals, we are different. God has created us different. We have different brain, we have different mindsets, we have different background. So finding purpose, I would say that there are different ways that God speaks to man. God can speak to you through ministers of God. God can speak to you through signs. God can speak to you through things that you love doing. Like myself, I love when it comes to talking, and not just talking. I need to find a niche, and finding purpose to one need to find a niche that is what would differentiate you from others. Your uniqueness. So what is peculiar to me is people look at me and say that when they hear me casting, they'll be like, this one, you are too fine to be reading Yoruba news. So I'll say it is my niche. I find that niche that I love speaking Yoruba. And God has been helping me so far. Although this is not the peak I will get, this is the least I will get itself. One needs to look inside, because just look inside what God is talking to you. God has been telling us, God usually talks to us in different ways. It's just that we humans, we refuse to obey, we refuse to listen to that particular voice. And because of us not listening, we killed that spirit. So I will still refer us back to God. If we go back to God, God will help us to find our purpose.
He said it still bounced back to God, like it still bounced back to God. It has to be God all the way. But however, I mean, there are people that did not just get to purpose. Will I say that you are so lucky to have discovered purpose when you are young, but I know some people out there that did not get purpose like that easily. There are people that have, tried, like a lot of people have made errors and trials. Okay, maybe this will work. They tried this. Maybe this will work. Maybe that will work. And eventually, before they got purpose, okay, this is the thing. Well, we should probably just conclude that they didn't yield to the leading of the Holy Spirit at the point of, the beginning, like from the beginning, that this is what you want to do. Yes. Okay, so to our next question, what is the place of, does relevance has anything to do with purpose discovery? Now, at this point, people are likely to mistake relevance for purpose. Relevance, for instance, is when a person is doing quite well, like they find the person very useful in a particular industry. Okay, let's say for instance, I am a presenter. Okay, before now, I was working in a radio station and I was a producer. Now, being a producer is quite different from being a presenter. In some radio stations, you can actually produce and present at the same time. But in other stations, maybe in a TV station for instance, you cannot produce and present at the same time. So I was producing and I didn't really enjoy that, but I was found very useful in that unit. I liked to talk, but I was producing. Then eventually, but I didn't really feel fulfilled doing that. So the question is, does relevance has anything to do with purpose discovery? Before now, you said you have been, working in Space FM, producing, and okay, we should probably just ask, in what you're doing presently, like you said you're currently working at Splash FM. Like, are you fulfilled working there? I know that you're very used to tuning in to listen to you on radio station is always a blast for me. Like when I just check the group channel, I see that join me on so time for news and all of that. I'm always like checking the time. Okay, so when is marking day somewhere coming up? We find you very useful in that unit. So would you say that that is what you're called to do? Like that is your purpose presently?
Well, my purpose in life is to bless people with my voice.
Okay.
Because
through newscasting, you mean?
Not only newscasting, I present programs too. I decided to find a niche around what I do. That is helping people align to their purpose in life. That is usually my goals. I have a program that I used to present on Sweet FM every morning, Monday morning. It's called Iwaida in Yoruba language, Iwaida. That is the behavior of humans. Because what we need to do, I still need to link it back to God. So at the first segment, I have to eulogize God. And in the course of eulogizing God, I don't write scripts. Because of eulogizing God, God will just drop one particular topic in me. You know, in the course of finding purpose, some people, as a result of their razor sharp mouths, they've been able to send people that can help them find purpose. We need to, so all those behaviors, God has been using me to guide people. And I have testimonies, people that chat me up, that thank God for this particular episode of the program and all of that. I won't say I'm really popular. I'm really fulfilled here in newscasting presently on Splash FM. But my purpose, being a presenter and producer and all of that, is to make people come back to God. Okay, let's take a look at it. We have many menace in society, many moral decadence in society. So I usually use Owe, that is Proverbs. I use Proverbs in one of my outfits that I read in my bio. I usually use Proverbs to correct the menace in the society. For instance, if we have a particular proverb in Yoruba. They said the younger ones should be seen only and not heard. The Yoruba aspect of the proverb says, "Erin ki fon, ki omo e na fon." That is, it is teaching us that we should be respectful when it comes to elders, talking to elders. Because when you talk to elders with respect, there are a lot of things that they would open up to you. And finding purpose too, one need to do a lot of things. One need to serve. You know, Samuel was serving before God spoke to him. Eli, rather. Yeah. Before God spoke to him that Samuel, at first. So when that voice came, it was like, he didn't know, he didn't recognize it. The first time, the third time, before he went to meet Samuel, that, "Sir, are you calling me?" He was serving. People usually underrate serving. One needs to serve. There's a big difference between being a servant and serving. One needs to serve. That is people that are doing that particular thing that we are doing. It's not necessary that we will follow their pattern, but they will guide us in a way that we should go. So Eli spoke to Samuel that whenever you hear that voice again, just say that, "Speak, for your servant is here." So at that particular point, serving has played a particular role, has played a very great role in finding purpose. The children of Eli, they couldn't be, even for the fact that their father is a prophet, they didn't follow that pattern.
Yeah, of course.
They were later destroyed as a result of what they are doing. So finding purpose still revolves around God and serving too. One need to serve and make sure that we serve diligently, and God can use those people to bless us in finding our purpose in life.
Hey, almost blown, like I'm just sitting here. I'm almost blown away with all these amazing thoughts from Samuel. He said service, which has to do with relevance. Being relevant has something to do with purpose discovery. So if you have anything you're doing there, you're not still sure about, what to do, and you're almost giving up, like, okay, perhaps God has not really called me to do anything special. Well, keep at it, because Samuel was actually at service. He was serving Eli when God called him. He was doing it. He didn't even know what next, because there was no tendency that he was going to take over from Eli, because Eli had 2 other sons, but he kept serving. So you have to keep serving to discover purpose. It is part of its relevance. You have to be relevant. Have something you're doing, be useful wherever you find yourself, and you are on your path to discovering what exactly God has called you to do. And it is at this point that we'll go on a very short break, and when we're back, we're going to continue on the subject of purpose and relevance. Still on the show with me is Samuel, and of course there are more of me, so you want to stay tuned till we are back.